Ah, shit.
This Bottle Rocket episode has been brought to you by BRG Events.
And by our patrons. Find out more at patreon.com/BottleRocketGaming. On this episode of the podcast, Zez and Ziplock are back again, joining us to cover this week's minimal amount of news, as well as a dive into the realm of microtransactions. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the BRG podcast. Thank you for joining us. As always, I'm your host, WarpedJester, and to my left, my wonderful beaver cuddling cohort, Kirrok.
It's me, Kirrok. Hi guys.
How you doing, Kirrok?
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, I'm good.
Hey, now, do you actually go out and actually catch beavers to cuddle with during the cold winters, or how does it work exactly? Do you,
only the ones that like eating wood.
Cue, promise, big brown beaver.
Rightio then.
They eat wood.
Down below, Kirrok, there, as you heard, is ZiplockBob. How you doing, Zip?
I'm doing wonderfully. I'm glad to be here as always. Whenever I do get invited back, and as usual, I ask, why do you guys keep inviting me back? You should know better by now.
I don't know. Do you know? I don't know.
Me?
Yeah.
I like the guy. He's cool.
But you're Canadian.
Y'all asking for it, man.
And there is Zez down in the other corner. How you doing, Zez?
I'm doing fine. I have a strange case of deja vu for some reason.
I know, it's horrible, isn't it? Hey, so we are a wonderful podcast of people that love to talk about things related to gaming, tech, and whatnot. We are also a small faction of the larger group that is the Bottle Rocket Gaming entity. We are a collective of people that like to play games together, create content, stream, you name it. And I encourage you guys to definitely learn more about us. I'll give you the details at the end of the show, but it's pretty simple. You type in Bottle Rocket Gaming on the YouTubes or Googles, the Bings, the whatevers, and you'll find us. That said, we've got an interesting show tonight. We've got very little news this week because news is starting to kind of wind down for the end of the year. There's lots of top 10 lists, lots of Black Friday and Cyber Monday deal notes and whatnot. Not a lot of really pertinent news. So news is going to be slim.
Most news you're going to get is these were the top 10 selling games for 2017.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that is
so.
Yeah,
this is why this is going to be our last news podcast we're going to do for the year. Again, we are going to be taking off the month of December. We've done a bunch of special episodes, fun things like predictions episodes and so on. So please do enjoy those, and we'll go ahead and pick back up in January. We'll kind of do a recap of December in its entirety. If there's anything newsworthy, we'll try to catch it then. But that said, I do want to get into what little bit we have, and also after that, we're also going to be talking about the big hot topic right now, which is microtransactions. So we're going to talk about what they are and kind of get our takes on them and try to explain them to you so you understand a little better, and we'll kind of go from there. So I'd say let's go ahead and dive into this.
What's up, everybody? It's Kirrok here. So, in case you haven't heard, BRG is hosting a month-long event for the month of December called Freeview. This month's game, Paladins. Freeview is basically where the BRG community comes together and they play a free-to-play game. They play the crap out of that game, and then by the end of the month, they get together a la round table style and review that game. It's pretty cool. Anyone is welcome to come, as all events are open to all members and newcomers alike. Okay, so this is the part where you get a piece of paper and pen and write down the dates. Freeview kickoff is Friday, December 1st at 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. The second event is being taking place on Sunday, December 10th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the third event is on Saturday, December 23rd at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then the actual round table where you guys sit down and discuss everything, that's taking place Saturday, December 30th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're watching this and I've piqued your interest, you can check out our website at the link on the screen, and you can even go into the Discord channel and speak to us directly. Hey, welcome back, everybody. So we are getting into the speedy bits. So these are news articles, gaming, some tech. We're just going to get right into it. First one, PUBG will be tweaked to add socialist-friendly messages in China. This comes from Engadget, and basically the game is about to be released in China.
and it's coming out there with some big changes. Local publisher Tencent will be making adjustments to the game content and make sure they fall in line with core socialist values. It's weird. I looked at the article, and there's some quotes in there saying that Tencent's localization will provide healthy, positive culture and value guidance specifically for underage players. It's freaking crazy.
Makes me feel a little dirty.
Yeah, they were saying that the game is too violent and would likely be banned or blocked because of this. So, yeah, they're going to be adding different things into the game to make it acceptable in their regime. I don't know.
Okay, speaking of things that makes me want to shower with a Brillo pad. Star Wars Battlefront 2. This time it's the players that are acting shitty. According to an article on Polygon, one of the things that can be a hassle is spending enough time to earn enough credits to buy loot boxes to get the cards you want. So instead of ponying up the cash, we're going to go with the Bethesda way. What's the Bethesda way? What will you do? You should take your controller, you grab a rubber band like so, and just...
Yeah, he's got it. There you go.
And walk away and have constantly queue up.
So basically, this is the same as what they had in the Battlefront issue some couple episodes back, with people just logging into games and staying static to gain reputation, but to make sure they don't get auto-logged for lack of activity, they're just hitting the controller. Mm-hmm. That's beautiful.
So good.
I mean, eventually, hopefully, technology will get to the point where it's like, yeah, you're not doing anything meaningful, as in we know that that's a rubber band because you're literally doing one input.
They'll figure it out, but it's going to be a back and forth battle.
Yeah.
So the company is shitty and the player is shitty. It just smells over there.
Well, maybe that may be sooner than you think, Bob, because Smaller VR is coming soon, according to Engadget.
Did you say sooner than you stink?
in your head, I did. There,
okay. In my head, you definitely did.
In my head canon, he said sooner than you stink.
Yeah, according to Engadget, apparently studio or company known as Haptic is working on smellable VR to go in lines with something like, if you remember, the old Smell-O-Vision.
Oh, yeah, I remember the old stuff.
Yeah, Bob? I see that face. What are you saying, Bob?
Nothing.
It might
I
work.
don't want to get us flagged.
It might work.
Do it.
No. I'm just Nope.
Warp knows if Bob pauses before he says something, he doesn't need to
We
say
don't
it.
need this. I have seen the wasted landscapes of Fallout 4. There is nothing in that game I need to smell. Ever.
But dog meat.
Moving on, let's talk about tech news. Yay! So, interesting article in Times. They had the top 10 gadgets for 2017, and the top tier gadget actually was the Nintendo Switch. So, round of applause for the Nintendo Switch. There actually was some pretty stiff competition, I might add, too, when it comes to the aspect of what else was being talked about there. This includes things like the Apple Watch, the Xbox One X, the Amazon Echo, and even both the Samsung Galaxy 8 Note and Apple's new iPhone, we skipped 9 and went on to 10 phone. So Switch came out on top of all of that. So bravo to you, you wonderful, wonderful little peoples, you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think Apple just...
I wouldn't have bought any of their competition.
I think Apple just stole a page from Microsoft. Microsoft skipped 8, went right to 10.
Hey, Kirok.
Yeah, in other news, the FTC is looking into Uber's latest data breach. This is reported by Engadget. So this week, Uber revealed a security breach that happened back in October of 2016. That's a freaking long time ago, guys. Where this is crazy, or where it takes a really crazy turn, is Uber decided to pay off the hackers to keep quiet rather than inform their customers. That's freaking low.
Isn't the government looking into this? Because you're
you're supposed to report it, yeah. So the FTC is looking into the breach and now on how Uber mishandled it. Interestingly, some notes are missing here, but there was
it's a BRG production, folks.
There was indication that that they're facing several state laws from which it violated when it didn't disclose the breach to its customers.
Yeah,
so
there's a bunch of breaches going through. Now, to be fair, the security officer was immediately discharged along with one of his close-up deputies. So they have been immediately discharged because they're the ones involved in this little scandal. And the person who is now the CEO of Uber came in after this fact, actually was the one that instigated investigations into the company itself to try to figure out all these issues, and has put out a absolutely no abashed reply saying, this is horrible. This is not how we do business now. We have turned a corner. We are changing things. So good on them for that.
Good on them.
Yeah.
I just wish they'd have news that to where it's like, so-and-so got in an Uber, or this news from Uber, and it doesn't go horrible. Just one time I want to be
again,
like,
this is old news coming up.
The puppies.
This is old news coming up now. So this is, Uber has changed their ways a lot. So anyways, they want to keep up with it.
It wasn't the same guy from the Equifax, but yeah, don't worry about it.
I want to put it past them.
Anyways, to end on a lighter note, I just want to put out there, in case you guys haven't heard, we actually had an extrasolar visitor that came through and is already on its way back out. There's actually an asteroid that came zipping in, looped around our sun, is already kicking back out towards the no man's land of space. What's interesting about this object is it is an extrasolar object. It is the first extrasolar object that we have actually noted and logged. So it is theorized that this has happened or can happen, but we've never actually witnessed it. So this is actually an object that is not from our solar system. The accretion disk that manifested into our star and the planets and everything else, this guy was not part of that. As a matter of fact, the direction he came from was actually towards the Lyra constellation, very, very far away. Now, the initial thought was, it must have come from that constellation from a particular location. I can't remember what the name of the star was. However, the problem with that is that even at the speed that it's traveling, which for the record is well over 50,000 miles per hour, that's 95,000 kilometers for you imperial types, it would have taken 300,000 years for it to travel from where we thought it was from to here, and that constellation, that other location, wasn't there at the time. So this was, quite frankly, most likely proof that there are actually just objects dead in space in between stellar bodies that we just happen to have a glimpse of. So that's
Vegas is the star you're looking for.
But anyways, honestly, like stuff like this puts into perspective how big just our little solar system is.
Yeah.
And like how much empty space is there.
We are fuck off tiny. And I think that this thing is a visitor from that far off is amazing. Anyways, now we feel sufficiently small in our world. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next thing.
Okay, guys.
Welcome back. It's Kirok here with your game releases for Bottle Rocket Gaming. Guys, this week, Nintendo is just dominating the scene. It's just so freaking amazing to see happen. And your first game is on November 28th. It is Resident Evil Revelations and Revelations 2 re-releases, and you guessed it, on the Switch. It's a horror thriller / adventure type game. Guys, just wow, a re-release of these games on the Switch, no less. That tiny little powerhouse of a console. Well, not so powerful, but still, you get my drift. Guys, you get to finally play these games on the go at 720p. I think that's worth it. The games themselves didn't do so amazingly, but they were out available on other consoles as well as the 3DS. In fact, I think I bought the game on the 3DS. Really, really good. What more could anyone ask for? the ability to shit your pants on the go. And your next game is also on November 28th, and it is Black Mirror for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. And keeping with the horror and the thriller, it is a horror thriller slash adventure type game. Speaking of twisted and eerie, this one here looks like it's the old Resident Evil tank style controls, which is pretty cool. Although the graphics do leave a lot to be desired, I think it might have a good storyline that you can sink your teeth in. But of all the games I'm going to present to you this week, it wouldn't be my first choice out of the box. And your next game on November 30th is Siberia 2. This is also coming out on the Switch. It's an adventure slash puzzle game. So another game for the Nintendo Switch. And like just a couple months back, they released Siberia 1 or re-released Siberia 1 on the Switch. And now number 2 is coming to the Switch. This is fantastic. I already own number 1 and number 2 on my PC. And I'm so tempted to just buy it up for the Switch. Self-control, Kirok, self-control. Now the real question is, will they be bringing number 3 to the Switch? Wait a second, I just bought that on Steam, on the Steam sale. And on December 1st, we have Doom VFR, a virtual reality. Yeah. This is coming out for the PSVR and the HTC Vive. It is a first-person shooter. It is their latest game in the Doom series, now re-released for virtual reality. So Bethesda's been pretty awesome with supporting the Switch with games, and now they're moving into and supporting the virtual reality with games, which is amazing. We already know Fallout 4 is coming, and yeah, this is going to be you playing in hell and killing a bunch of demons in VR. Or maybe throwing up. Also on December 1st, you have Gear Club. This is coming out on the Nintendo Switch, and it is a racing game. Guys, I cannot believe how the Switch is doing. It's just like amazing. Every freaking week, there are tons of games coming out. This one is a racer for you racing fans out there. The graphics aren't that decent, not super spectacular, but when you consider you're holding a game on the go, 720p in your hands, it's actually quite mind-blowing. Game looks great, and it's got racing, car progression system, night racing, tabletop, and TV gaming for up to 4-player co-ops. Yes! Guys, it's only just begun. And your last game is also on December 1st, and this is Xenoblade Chronicles 2 for the Nintendo Switch. Oh man, lots of switching happening here. It's a role-playing game, so if you guys love a role-playing game, it's actually part 2 in the saga, and it's supposed to be a pretty classic game and very deep, very rich in story. Check it out. It's out on the Nintendo Switch, and you'll be able to take this game wherever your little heart desires. And guys, oh man, this is so good. All I have to say is thank you, Nintendo, for bringing back what you're good at, and that is handheld, and that is... You were the kings of it with the Game Boy, and this is it all over again. And that's it, guys. Thank you for joining me this week on the game releases for Bottle Rocket Gaming. It has been a pleasure. And again, we have domination with the Nintendo Switch. This is amazing. Shall we have an episode where there's only Nintendo Switch games? It might happen.
Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into the main topic tonight. Again, the main topic is going to be all about microtransactions, and we're going to get into what those are, but there's a couple elements to this topic, because it's a little bit nebulous. There's a couple of different things you're going to hear about that kind of all tie together, so we're going to try to break them down. Now, one of the elements is loot boxes, which we've already talked about in a past episode with Hamnisu, so I definitely encourage you to go back and check that out. But just to give you a quick recap on the loot box situation, since we've talked last, a lot more governmental bodies have gotten into looking into loot boxes and trying to figure out if they violate any laws or need to have any kind of oversight. A couple of which are notable here. One is the Belgian Games Communications has said loot boxes are a form of gambling, or at least this is what the title of the article is. Now, a reason I wanted to bring this up here is because they're actually wrong. And this is an issue with this particular article that kind of annoys the crap out of me, is that a lot of people here didn't do the research or didn't read things right and got a little off base there. Just so you know, for specifically for the Belgian Game Communications Commission, they said specifically that, you know, gambling plus addiction, or sorry, money plus addiction equals gambling. And they're also looking into loot crates to see if they follow into that line. So basically, they're defining what gambling is. I don't really agree with what they say gambling is, but nevertheless, So they define what gambling is, and also are looking into loot crates to see if they do apply to that. So they didn't directly say, yes, loot boxes are gambling. That's not what was said. So a little bit off on that.
I think that was a clickbait title.
The problem is that a lot of different sites went for it. So a lot of sites are reporting this. If you actually read the actual nomenclature, it is two separate things. We've defined gambling. We're looking into loot boxes, not loot boxes are gambling. So
right. Okay.
They've also made a few other little comments in there as well. But another one worth doing is the Victorian Gambling Commission also says loot boxes constitute gambling, kind of. Now, gambling with items is gambling. This is the problem: is a lot of these governmental buys. Honestly, with all due respect, no, there's no respect here. A lot of these people are fucking old fogies that don't play games and don't understand how shit's working. So they hear about loot boxes and they hear about like CS:GO skin gambling, and that's all one thing to them. They don't understand the differences. So getting a loot box may or may not be. Gambling with the skins is definitely gambling. But that said, progression in the game could be reliant on the outcome of random number generators. Is reprehensible gaming, and it's basically just a poor form. Now, they also went on to go so far as to say, more importantly, the normalization of gambling vernaculars and mechanics targeted at vulnerable people, minors, is not just morally irreprehensible, but may be legally questionable as well.
Yeah,
so again, even they are saying, we're not going to put our finger directly on, yes, it's gambling. State of Hawaii is looking into it. They haven't made a statement anyway. Hawaii State is investigating the legislation. They're looking into it.
Investigating legislation that would put an end to randomized loot boxes and similar practices in online games, or at least prevent said games from being sold to minors.
Thank you. And one thing I have to give props for is you need to go actually look up the actual press release that I forget who the person was, but he went up to the podium and started talking about it, and he was specifically talking about EA's Battlefront 2.
Right.
It's a trap.
Yeah, he actually says it's a trap.
Now, I will say...
I have no idea if that was on purpose or not.
I didn't think it was real the first 2 times I watched it.
It was a trap. He said it.
Because with how the thing shot, it
looks like the
BRGers make better videos.
I know, but just the fact that he said that, I'm not even sure if he realized he made it funny or not, but nevertheless, it was great. And also the UK Gambling Commission, there was a new article that came up saying, yes, they've put in a verdict on it. I looked through the article again, and I'm trying to get a kind of real association to what's going on with it. And the fact of the matter is they still haven't actually said anything towards it. When I looked through the article and looked at the details, they again said basically, according to the Gaming Commission, loot boxes currently do not meet the classification of gambling as it's laid out. Key factor will be usually for actual monetary gain or equivalent of. So that's where things are right now in terms of loot boxes. Again, I just wanted to kind of get you guys caught up to us on what's going on there. Now we're going to talk about microtransactions. Now, the reason why I bring loot boxes up is because loot boxes can be or oftentimes are part of microtransactions. Yeah. To be fair, when it comes to loot boxes specifically, there are loot boxes you get for free, and there are loot boxes that you can either get for a cost, buy surplus of, or modify, upgrade, or whatever to get better items out of. So there are those kind of loot boxes. So we're going to, in the microtransaction realm, we are going to specifically define anything related to microtransactions that's talking about putting real world money into a game to get items back out of it, or perks, or something in the game. So that's kind of what we're going to dive into.
Are we going to go with, is a one-time, not so much a one-time payment, but is it something I can just buy once, or rebuy again and again and again? Because that's how most microtransactions work.
It could be rebuy again and again. Yeah, a lot of mobile apps have like gems as their in-game currency, but you buy with real money.
Yeah, because I've I've heard the argument that DLC can be considered a form of microtransactions. Like, depends on how big the DLC
So
is.
this is a good point to bring up, Bob, and this is exactly what I kind of want to dive into, because there is a difference between microtransactions and paid-for content. But what I first want to touch on is why microtransactions. Why microtransactions exist now? Where did they come from? How they had the brain box for this? And here's give you kind of a high pass overview in the quick here. A big part of the issue they had, first of all, let me ask you guys this: when it came to buying games for your Nintendo 64 or even your Super NES, how much do those games cost you?
Let's see, $59.99 for first party guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
Some smaller secondary companies maybe
40. 60
right.
bucks, $46 usually.
How much? I thought they were $50 back then, but
how much do games cost you
around
now?
The N64s when they switched from 50 to 60.
Okay, how much do games cost you now, Kirok, for your Switch?
For me, for my Switch, I just bought Riven, and it was $50 Canadian.
There you go.
And it's and it's a lower priced game. Normally they're $79.
US.
Right. Exactly.
But here's the thing.
Yeah. Sorry,
I
meant rhyme.
We are talking about.
Go on.
We were talking about a couple of decades worth of time has gone by, and games still cost about the same amount of money. And this is not even going to the whole calculation of inflation and all of that. So there's the first problem: is these game studios put a lot of time, money, and effort into these things. But the actual cost of games is very static. It hasn't constantly gone up in time. So there's that issue.
However, I do have a counterpoint to that.
Oh?
Yes. They make... Okay. The cost of production has gone down because of digital distribution. When I buy something, say, Steam, right? Because I'm a PC guy. Yeah. I don't have to buy a disc that there was a manufacturing plant they had to pay for.
Right.
I pay
or
for
transportation
Steam.
Or shelf space in a retail store.
But also, they've been selling more games. EA, when that entire fiasco, they told their stockholders, who are the only people they have to be honest to, really, that with it's like when they get rid of their microtransactions,
they don't have to be honest. They have to make it look like they're being.
It's like
honest.
We don't think we're going to lose that much money, or it's going to cut down our profits that much at all, because the game's going to sell like gangbusters. It's a Star Wars.
Okay, here's the thing, Bob. Before we get too deep into that. The issue is that there's a lot of metrics and numbers here that I'm not familiar with, so I can't speak to. So you're kind of off on your own on this. So you are right. Things do change. The cost of production has changed, certainly, for doing digital download, and that is becoming more prominent than physical in some ways. Again, you're not going to get many in the way of digital downloads for your Switch, so much as finding the physical games for some of the main, AAA titles and so on. So the point is, going back kind of to the beginning of things, you bought games at a stacked price, and here's the other problem is regards of the resale of used games, which studios don't get shit for.
Right.
So there's a whole games market, there's an income going on, circling around. And some people could even argue that it actually hinders the studios, because now I can buy a game, play it, get bored of it, give it to Kirok or sell it to Kirok, and he can play it, and the game studio only sees one sale. So there's that aspect about it. Now, some game companies have tried to get around this in some ways or another. Now, notably, there's game passes. So you can get a game pass for additional features, functions, whatever. The problem with that is game passes are a process, a service of diminishing returns. If you pay for a service like that for extra maps to go onto, you're reliant on everybody else paying that service fee to get to those maps so you can play with them. And over time, less and less people are going to do that. So you're actually going to lose the engagement and desire to go after that. There is DLC, as Bob has pointed out. So you have the ability to do DLC. That's another aspect about it. The problem is game studios have had to figure out that we need to be able to sell a game and then get the DLC out quick enough that people still have it.
Mm-hmm.
People burn through the
Because
game.
they might just sell it, like you were saying a moment ago.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
these are some of the issues that the studios deal with. So the long and short of it, and kind of in all fairness, you're not paying people less to code. You know, the wage cost for people is always going up. So finding some additional ways for income is important. Now, early on, there were some kind of early successes / failures. Bethesda had horse armor that everybody bitched and moaned about, but then went out and bought.
Some people do.
Which game was that in?
That was in Oblivion.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You got it. The only here's the thing with everybody buying it, because it's like there's some people who didn't buy it in any shape or form. The only reason why I have it is because I got the Game of the Year edition of that game when I bought the big box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Best box of like all the Oblivion game.
Oh,
I remember that armor
Elder
now. You
Scrolls
mentioned that
games.
box. I remember that armor now.
So you have some games that kind of figured out microtransactions surely by accident, but where microtransactions were making huge waves wasn't on console, and sure as hell wasn't on PC.
That's right.
Where was it, Kirok?
It was on mobile.
Damn Skippy.
Mobile was where it was really picking up steam, and a lot of as the mobile market for games started to pick up, as the new phones started coming out, the new smartphones. What was happening was developers were developing an app, putting it on whatever store, whether it's the Android store or the iOS store, and those companies that host those stores take a cut. But then not only were they selling these games for free, for low amounts of money, like $1 or free completely, but they were then working in a way that you could continuously buy something like in-game currency, in-game gems, whatever, to have a steady revenue. And they still do it, to get a steady revenue of income on that app. So that app that they may sell to you for $1 or give you for free may actually in turn earn them more money through the in-game microtransactions. I'm really fed up with that too. Like I look through the store sometimes, and if I see in-game content or in-game purchases, I just skip past it. I'd rather pay $5, $6 for a decent game that doesn't have it, and I know I got a full game, rather than one that's free and I can play.
There's actually a game to where instead of doing that, or on top of that, for your microtransactions, every 5 minutes you can watch a video for more money and a video for more premium currency.
Time is money, and either needs to be spent to make a buck in that sense. So here's the thing, though, as Kirok was pointing out, is you get to the point where you get so fed up with like in-game purchase, you kind of want to burn past it. The problem is if you go through like the game store on Android and say eliminate anything that has in-game purchases, there'd be no games left.
Right. And
I mean,
you have that one Mario game.
That's exactly what I was about to bring up. Mario Go or Mario Run.
And like some Sega ports.
Okay, so there are exceptions, of course, but by and large, it is very far between.
But that's now, like what, in games out of thousands.
Now this was primarily mobile, but it was starting to come out in Steam, on PC, and even in some aspects. But the one game
got start on PC. That's the crazy part.
It did, but what really hit the big time, what really put microtransactions into like the AAA games, was Overwatch. Yeah, Overwatch comes out and has loot crates and all that, and that's what made it mainstream. And that's kind of where things have gone to now. You can already kind of hear our opinions on things, and
we're not happy with it, but he is trying his hardest to be devil's advocate.
Like,
I'm trying to miss the days.
I'm sorry, I miss the days where you bought a game and the whole game was there. But then again, I'm more referencing that towards DLC, not so much the microtransaction. The microtransaction is just a pain.
I agree with you. Now here's the thing, and actually, Zez, I want to get you in on this. So here's the aspect I want to put to you when it comes to the aspect of game architecture. I'm going to assume that everybody here is not really terribly keen on the idea of paying for a game up front and then paying a recurring cost in microtransactions or monthly fees or anything like that. Am I right in saying so?
Oh yeah, because like if I pay $60, I don't want to deal with the psychological browbeating.
Right. But MMOs have lived on that forever, though.
Yes, they have, but in a way...
Yeah, once they got away from the subscription model, that's right.
Right, but like, for instance, I play WoW, and I pay a monthly fee to play that game. And I'm okay with it because that money that I give them, I know, keeps the servers running, keeps them continuously, keeping everything in order and working. So when I go to log in whenever I want, it works. So it's not like they're selling me a pair of pauldrons that cost me more money. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. According to this article in VentureBeat, where they were interviewing the CEO of Nexion, they invented that, like they were trying to do the free-to-play model with one of their games, because it was failing, and there was like, well, we'll try to get subscriptions by offering to people the game for free, and we'll just sell them cosmetics. They weren't selling power or anything like that, and they accidentally made that model with a game that was perfectly functional first. 10% of the players were the ones paying for everybody else.
The whales.
To play the game.
They were the whales. That was the old architecture. So here's the thing: they're trying to up in the architecture to get more money out of people and get more money from more people in general. Now, this is a really hard part to comprehend, because we're already trying to get into the aspect of splitting. Like, when is it okay? When is it okay?
Right.
I mean, you make a point. Things like WoW, for example. When I used to play EverQuest, you paid a monthly fee to have access to this game. And I'm with you, and I'm bored with the fact that if it's a live game, it's an online game, then you need to get the lights on, so paying a monthly fee makes sense. At least we've brought up like that. Other people may not feel the same. So I'm not sure if monthly fees necessarily apply in that regard. But what about DLC? If I buy a game, should I be charged for DLC?
Yes, situationally.
Yes.
Because here's the reason why I say situationally.
I was going to say, Zez, why you say yes?
Oh, because if I agree with Bob situationally. If depends on the amount of content that's being produced when they put out a downloadable content. Mm-hmm. If you have, like, Dishonored: Death of the Outsider just came out not too long ago.
Yeah.
That's a a full-length standalone game that's actually marked as a DLC, but it's $20, 5-6 hour game added onto Dishonored story.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. But you wouldn't pay for.
That's an expansion pass.
Yeah. It's the same. It's the same kind of thing.
Or an expansion pack. You had those games with games as old as what was it? The old Ultima games. There was one that had expansion packs, or an expansion pack. Like, that's not a new concept. We just rebranded it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, look at the era of EverQuest. Playing the original EverQuest, I bought the original game, and right off the bat when I started in 2001, I bought the two expansions they had. They weren't called DLC then, because you download them, you bought them on disc and load them on your computer.
And then
the same exact concept. Yeah. So I was paying for the original game. I was paying for all of the expansions to it, and I'm paying a monthly fee. But it still wasn't identified as a microtransaction, or wasn't identified as a games as a service. Now, here's the funny thing. So I want to talk about games as a service, and I don't want to run too long here, but before we do, real quickly, microtransactions have come to a head, and I've really gotten on people's nerves for a couple of reasons. One, the loot boxes we talked about, and everybody's looking into them now, and that's been a big deal. Two, the general feedback from the masses has been negative on the whole concept. Just as Kirok has pointed out, I'm getting kind of sick and tired of having these games where I've got to go through and click on loot box, open shit up, or pay an extra fee to enjoy the game a little more, or to do the whole play to win architecture.
Anything close to competitive.
Exactly. So there's all the issues, and of course, who should come along when it comes to microarchitecture and just always put their toe one step too far on any kind of thing. Anybody want to guess?
EA.
You nailed it right on the head. Shock of shocks. So EA has actually on two fronts managed to piss off people bad enough that they're actually catching a lot of flack for it. So the first one I want to talk about real quickly here is the microtransactions in Star Wars Battlefront. They fucked up so bad on this, even after getting feedback from the masses. They fucked up so bad on this that not only that they had to suspend the microtransaction element of the game, but they actually got a call from a Disney chairman on behalf of the senior staff of Disney telling EA to knock this shit off.
Yes.
They are actually giving Star Wars a bad name. This is how badly EA has fucked up. Okay? When Disney calls you, when the mouse calls and says, drop that shit, yeah, you know you done fucked up. And boy, did they. And it even goes a little further, because in addition to that, EA also fucked up with addressing the loot boxes and Need for Speed Payback as well. Yep. As a matter of fact, they have gotten so much flack about this. They've had to completely revise it, because people are saying, this is fuck off retarded. You can't do shit in this game unless you want to play an unreasonable amount of hours of the game. Like literally drink lots of caffeine, never sleep kind of gameplay, or your SOL. So this is
type
EA
of gaming they're asking you to do. As someone who is a self-professed hardcore gamer, even I say is excessive and unhealthy. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, you know what type of customers aren't repeat customers? Ones that had a fucking heart attack because they OD'd on vitamin B12 from energy drinks. Mm-hmm. Because they had to do that to be competitive in your game when they paid the $60 for it. And didn't have anything else because they only get 2 games a year, and that's it.
And, you know, and this is where it becomes a big problem, because you're going to have somebody who's going to overstep the bounds and make this a big issue. And I'll be honest with you, I am glad I didn't put anything into predicting where this was going to go, because if I was going to do any kind of prediction about when loot boxes and microtransactions were going to come to a head, I would have guessed no time soon.
Right. And
but
it's
well, this past year it's just been getting worse and worse and worse, to where I'm like, I hate to say I told you so. Actually, no, I love saying I told you so. The entire year I was going, you stupid SOBs, you're getting way too close to gambling because they're emulating the casino business way too much. And I'm like, you do realize that the same people who wants to demonize video games, period.
They flew too close to the sun. So, they flew too close to the sun.
To me, look at it this way, or I mean, we touched upon this in the conversation. I go out and I buy a game, and this game is amazing. Like I went last year and bought out Uncharted 4 because I couldn't wait to play it. Do you have any idea how much it would destroy me if I had gotten into that game and there were microtransactions in the single player or something like that after spending $69?
Would you like to grab a grappling hook to climb this wall?
Yeah. Oh, you know this other grappling hook can get you up there faster.
Exactly.
To climb stairs, please pay $5.99 for the stairs climbing.
Oh yeah, you have the stairs right there, the little velvet rope for $2.99. You can go straight to the top hit the boss. And if you don't want to pay that, you can go all the way around here for a week. No,
someone's got to re-release the original NES games and put microtransactions in them and see how many people laugh at that shit. That'll be ridiculous.
Why would you say that, Kirok? I mean, there's almost no chance anybody from EA listens to our show.
They're gonna be like,
seriously.
Oh no, I'm sorry. The EA games on the SNES sucked, so it's cool.
I think you have to worry more about Nintendo here and there. Getting ideas.
Okay, so
no, Nintendo's been pretty good about keeping away from microtransactions, except for
God, can you fucking jinx it a little more? You know, everybody just shut up now before we give any more bad ideas to the world, because we don't need it.
Actually, listening to us.
Oh shit, me. So
they're listening.
Anyways, I do want to wrap this up, but one last thing I want to touch on is a new term that's coming up, and I find it a little comical because it's a new term of sorts, but it's an old architecture we kind of just touched on previously, which is games as a service. Mm-hmm. And here's where things get kind of in that with games as a service, it literally is just that. It is you're providing a game as a service. It's a repetitive cost. Now, again, I get a little cringy thinking about this idea, but then I look back, I realize I paid for EverQuest for years.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know,
it's
wow.
exactly what MMOs are.
Well, and to that point, Zez, is there any problem with that?
No.
So, paying recurring cost for a service, and again, to be fair, you're talking about paying a monthly service cost and getting nothing in return for it.
But
I'm talking about micropayment mentality where I can go in and pay what I want, when I want, and get toys for it.
When I picked up that World of Warcraft box back in December of 2004, it said on the package, may incur charges, blah, blah, this and that. There are online fees. It wasn't hidden. It was on the box. We knew it. Here,
But
you
it's
go
on
out
the
and buy
advertisement
Call of Duty
thing.
World War II. It's $69. And then once you're in the game, it's like, oh, you need this.
Oh,
you
it's on
can
the
get
back
this
of the
for-
box in that fine print that nobody reads.
But still,
Yeah, but was
But
Warcraft
here's the
$60
thing.
when it came out?
There's
Hold
no
on.
problem with
Sorry,
any of this
I'm
in its
getting a
organic
little
form.
excited.
It's how far they take it is the fucking problem.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Zez, finish your thought.
Was Warcraft $60 when it came out?
Huh?
sorry, say again?
How much was Warcraft when it first came out?
60.
Oh, I don't remember. 60
Like-
bucks? Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
60.
And they still charge
And you got the first month free.
yeah, the first month
Or
free.
as part of that free, because it's
But
part of
even-
the 60.
But Warcraft is a game of service, and MMOs. And,
It is.
And they'll come out with an expansion like what every year.
Pretty much,
But
yeah.
what game isn't?
Every 18
Honestly,
months.
what game is not a game of
Right.
constant service? Almost the vast majority of popular games now are online connected games. Hell, there's a company even said we're not doing single player anymore. Fuck it, we're doing online connected services.
Unless you're
And
CD
that's
Projekt
when
Red.
I said, well, I guess I'm not buying your stuff anymore. 'cause
unless-
I only buy
unless-
single-player games.
Unless you're CD Project Red. Did you see their tweet?
Yes.
No,
their
what-
tweet
what was their
is,
tweet?
We leave the greed to others.
Yeah.
Nice.
They're like, we're doing single player content, no DLC ever.
Yeah.
love
Which-
it.
And the
you know,
thing
more
is
power to
about
them.
a month ago, they said they were talking about online connectivity in a very vague sense. And at Shadowrun, that would have worked because in a multiplayer way, not in a let's gouge these people for every cent.
Gotcha.
Like it would be like, because it's all about, hey, you're going to work with me on this contract because you need the money and I need someone who has these skills that I don't have. You know.
Yeah. Well, in any case, so guys, like I said, games as a service is a like news term, but in the end, the fact that matters, it's already existed. My curiosity is where we start drawing lines, and I would actually like to do a follow up to this conversation, maybe in the new year here, and actually talk about try to be the ambassadors of the gaming internet and start laying out some lines, saying, listen. We will put up with X on certain conditions. Like, I will put up with microtransactions to a certain extent if said game is free to begin with, or if the microtransactions are purely optional, cosmetic, whatever. We can go into more depth and detail. When is it right to pay for DLC? How much DLC should cost? When is it right to pay a monthly service, etc.? And of course, I do want to get your guys' thoughts and opinions. Please make sure you leave comments down below. Give us your take on the microtransaction world, on games as a service. And hell, if you got any follow-up thoughts on loot crates, I'd be curious to see what those are. So please let us know, and we will we'll follow up with you on that and when we do our follow-up episode. But for now, we got to get jamming here, so we're going to go ahead and move on. Hey! Come here.
Yeah.
Come here. A little closer. A little closer.
Me? What?
Didn't your mom ever tell you not to stand too close to the TV? Dumbass. Hey, you know what, guys? We are done for the night, unfortunately. I really appreciate you guys sticking around with us to talk about the wonderful conversations we have, especially on something like microtransactions. It's a big topic, and I'll be honest with you, we probably could have spent a hell of a lot more time talking about it. Okay. Unfortunately, we do have to cut the line and head on home at some point here. So I do want to give a big thank you to the guys who joined us tonight. Zez, my friend, as always, it's a pleasure having you on here, so it's nice to have you back again.
It's great to be here.
What's going on in your world, my friend?
I'm going to be streaming, as I have been. This month, I'm going to be streaming as part of BRG's Freeview. I'll be playing Paladins when I stream over on BRG, which is
awesome.
from Wednesdays.
Nice.
Which is going to be Wednesdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Sweet deal. Look forward to that.
Eastern time.
I've looked into it a little bit. I'm trying to keep it kind of minimal because I need a little bit to help people on the first day, but I don't want to get into it too far because I want to be fresh and new with it. So definitely can pick you up, and of course you're Zez _Zez over at twitch.com.
We're on twitch.tv and on Twitter.
Or sorry, twitch.tv. And then of course on Twitter as well. So make sure you look up the _Zez. You'll pretty much find you everywhere. Anything else exciting going on?
You could probably just put in Zez and find me.
There you go. Hey, own the name, man. Own the name. All right.
Zez is too few letters for Twitch apparently. So.
Remember, there's a minimum requirement nowadays. But hey.
Yeah, minimum requirement's 4.
Yeah, 4.
Well, I know somebody's got at least 4 in their name, and that's good old Bob here.
Yay. Yeah, I'm having a interesting time here lately. I'm usually easily found over on twitch.tv streaming Monday through Friday is my normal shtick.
He does a lot of streaming, guys. If you actually want to see a lot of content pouring out of somebody, Bob is a good place to go to.
Speaking of the Twitch, Bob, didn't you want to announce something?
Yeah. Starting January on Thursdays and Fridays, I'm going to be playing games from when I graduated high school and back. So from 2005, that gives you a hint at my age.
Wow.
And back. If it's something I've played before when I was a kid, that's a Friday show. If it's something I've never played before, that's going to be a Thursday show.
I was more referring to the Twitch team.
Oh yeah, also on the Twitch team. And when we recorded the next episode on that day, we got wonderful news from Twitch saying that we're affiliated now.
Yay!
Now I just need to get someone to fill out the paperwork because apparently you can't have more than one thing linked to one phone.
Go
Hey,
figure.
Can you do that? So
Hell no.
I think
you
it's
just got to fill out
thing.
the paperwork.
I think it's a wins thing.
Paperwork is a Linz and RG thing, man. If you guys want to keep up with Zip, obviously go over to twitch.tv and find ZiplockBob. You can also hit him on his Twitter account and make sure you keep track of him there. If you want to stalk him, this is the way to do it. And of course, we got good old Kirrok here.
Hey.
Our wonderful and beautiful Kirrok that has actual content on his YouTube account. So again, if you want to see new stuff coming out constantly and can't catch it live on his Twitch account, make sure you head over to his YouTube account and check things out. So make sure you go in there. Anything new? Because you were playing Mafia and then also playing.
So I streamed Call of Duty World War II, finished that game yesterday, but I wasn't recording it. I was just playing it because I wanted to break in my Xbox One X. And so now I'll be going back to Mafia, recording it as I stream, playing it through, enjoying that. I'm actually having a lot of fun with it. And as I stream it, I record it and post it on my YouTube channel after the fact.
Awesome.
So yeah,
enjoying that. And just a quick check-in: how's Project Singularity doing?
They're well. I haven't really touched base with them very much lately. Actually, I got to touch. Today's 25th. Yeah, so I got to send out some emails.
We're gonna fix that then because it's a crying shame with all these wonderful, beautiful people you have here that you're not keeping up with them. So what we're gonna go ahead and do, and I'm giving people a heads up now, is come the new year, we're gonna go ahead and start reaching out to each and every one of them. And we're going to try to drag them onto the show. Now, we've already had a couple of them on there, Hamisu, Ruark, but we're going to try to grab the rest of them and have them on.
Crane, Walden, you
got it. So we're going to make that happen. And, of course, good old Hop Along Games.
Hop Along, yes.
They're cruising.
Day before yesterday, we recorded a couple episodes for December, so I'm going to prep those and post them. We basically do 2 a month.
Awesome.
One every 2 weeks, so we got a couple episodes in the bag.
That's right, you're Canadian. That's right, you're Canadian.
Yeah.
I'm like, the day before yesterday was Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. There's no celebration up here. Yeah.
Crazy Canadians, man. They have Thanksgiving on a different day. They have Thanksgiving for other reasons.
Had some pizza, had some bourbon. It was awesome.
And of course, guys, I do have a gaming channel and a Moto vlog channel, which again I've not had time to do a lot of stuff on. So as always, go ahead and just pick me up over on the YouTube, the Bottle Rocket Gaming website, bottlegaming.com. as well as on our Discord channel. Again, just go to Discord, look at BRG Gaming. You can't miss us. We're pretty stand out there. We do have a bunch of games coming up. As of December 1st, we will be doing the first inaugural free view for the month, and we're going to be playing Paladins, as Zez pointed out. So it's going to be a month long of gaming. We'll be doing a bunch of basically, you pick the game, start playing it. It's free to play, and then we'll have some coordinated events, usually about one a week, to actually play together, so you can do some group play as well. So I definitely encourage you to join us for that. We will be doing prize giveaways both for people watching us on our Twitch channel, we live stream, as well as when we decide to get together. Anybody who joins us to actually play with us will also get some prizes as well. So nice. Worth going over to the website, signing up. Hey, fun stuff. Also, since you guys are already here at the YouTube channel, I highly encourage you to go ahead and hit the sub button, hit the like button, all that good jazz. And again, give us comments. We love to see feedback from you guys. We try to make sure we reply to it and say hi to you, and appreciate the conversations we have there. And in case you didn't know, Bob is a principal person that got into the Twitch realm for BRG Gaming and got it up and running. And he's now gracefully handed it off to Thomas, taking over for it. However, they are doing a lot of stuff on there. We have a lot of people streaming all the time on the Twitch channel, so I definitely encourage you to head over there and check things out. We're actually over 100 people now following on our Twitch channel. So good for you guys.
Bob's like, that's news to me.
Yeah, 101, 101 followers. Anyways, guys, as always, if you guys like to give us a little bit of love and hype, we certainly do appreciate a good shout out. If you'd like to go to your favorite form of communication across the interwebs and yell out our name, we appreciate it. However, if you want to take the lazy man's way, you're also certainly welcome to throw a few dollars our way. We have a whole bunch of different tiers from $1 and up for a hearty thank you. We even have $50 for a t-shirt. And then there's some hidden off the record ones, something to do with blow up sheep for Bob. I think that was like $500. And then somewhere around
it was a 500 pack.
Guy goes through sheep like I go through underwear.
It's just bad.
And somewhere up there in the we're gonna raise the price a bit, but in a few $1,000 range, you get a date with Kirrok as well. We'll negotiate a new price point for that, but $1,000 is too cheap. No. We just hit it to reevaluate because it's too expensive to fly you off to foreign places. So I have to compensate for the most expensive ticket price out there. So I'm thinking maybe like $10K.
Got it. Okay.
Anyways, guys,
I have to record the whole thing.
Yes, that all has to be live streamed. Actually,
yeah, it has to be live streamed. Okay.
It has to be live streamed. Your live blog. You will have a live stream date with Kirrok for $10,000. How about that?
It's got to be live streamed on both Twitch and YouTube.
Yes, simulcast. Make this happen, people. Right? I'm telling you right now, $10,000. You've got a live stream date with Kirrok. We'll even pay for you guys to go down to like a gaming den so you guys can sit in front of some computers and play together. All right, guys. Anyways, you have a wonderful night. We'll see you next week with a bunch, again, special episodes. All this next month here. We're off. We're gone. We're MIA for a month, taking some time down, playing new stuff for you. So you enjoy the wonderful content, and we'll see you next year.
Bye.